Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of That's So Matthew. Today, I'm so excited to be here, almost rounding out the Twilight saga with Breaking Dawn Part 1. But I have a super special guest here with me. Say hi, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Bethy, and I cannot wait to be back again.
I know, you are carrying the podcast right now with guest wise. I feel like you're here every other month, and I kind of love it.
So true. I am the best part about this podcast. That's so Bethy. Yeah.
That's so Bethy. I feel like we need to get some shirts with that on it.
So true. Yeah.
Yeah. No, okay, so Twilight month. This is a little recording secret. This is actually the last one that I'm recording. So I recorded part 2 before I recorded part 1. But I watched them in order, but spoiler alert, the first time I watched Breaking Dawn part 1, I fell asleep.
Yeah.
It was at midnight. So truthfully, I can't be upset with that. I was tired. But I think it kind of just sums up how I feel about this movie. Going into it, I kind of heard from all of the guests so far for Twilight Month that the last 2 are kind of And so I feel like I've heard so many different opinions, and at the end I kind of ask you what you think of the whole thing as a whole. But this movie it's definitely one of the weaker ones. The flow is good. I liked the plot, I guess. It's just weirdly executed, and there's just a lot of weird scenes. The birthing scene is really weird. Really weird.
Sure.
And my mom walks in on that scene, of all scenes. It was funny, I guess, to me, because it was the birthing scene, and she's like, "What are you watching?" And I'm like, "Twilight." Get with the program.
Come on, Mom. It's 2008, and I have to be emo watching Twilight.
Exactly. No, I also, this is one of the 2 that I have my own DVD of right now. This and Eclipse. So.
Oh my God, I also have an Eclipse DVD. That's crazy.
I bought them at Half Price Books, and I got them for $3 each. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's get right into it. This movie, you all know, is the based off of the last book, but it is not the last movie because they broke it up into 2, just like Harry Potter and just I don't know if any other movies have done that, but you get the vibe. It was released in 2012. No, 2011. Oopsies. 2011 on November 18th, 2011, which is kind of crazy. Because I also feel like this is a really weird date that's sticking out to me, but I feel like we released an episode together on November 18th. I think that was the Luck of the Irish one. So kind of love that.
You're right. I think it was, because that's when I was at the theater festival. Yeah. And we recorded it at one of the other competitions. So yeah.
Yeah, I kind of love that. It was great. But crazy enough, this movie is not Luck of the Irish whatsoever. I know, shocking. This movie essentially, I would say, is the most no, I want to say the most visually appealing, but I have to still say that I love Eclipse. No, not Eclipse. The last one with the red and the white.
Yeah. I think that so much of the staging and cinematography of Breaking Dawn Part 2 is better than here, but this is they're in Brazil and they're at the house and it's pretty.
And then there's a wedding. The wedding scene, I have been looking forward to it. I have heard so much about it, and it did not disappoint because I just thought it was absolutely hilarious. Visually, I loved it.
Yeah. It's gorgeous, and I love how much detail they put into everything.
And so we have Bella and Edward. Basically, the plot of this is they have their wedding, and then she realizes that she's pregnant, and the baby comes really fast, and then she's worried that she's going to give birth to an immortal. So then they try to save her.
Yep.
What do we think? Honestly, let's get into Bella. Bella in this movie is okay.
Yeah, I don't think that she is written in a way that would make her a compelling character.
Yeah, no, you're so right. This entire saga is literally that. She's not written in a way that I can love her.
Yeah, like I think it's because in so much of the writing, like Stephanie was using like such a passive voice for her and like only telling stuff from her perspective, so we like didn't get like really the entire story, and just like she's just kind of there, like she's driving us forward, but like not in a meaningful way.
Not in the direction. She's like driving the car, but not in the direction we're supposed to be going. That's like that's the way that I can describe this. Because no, like she literally throughout this entire saga has given us nothing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still don't know if it's written as like that way or if it's just Kristen Stewart.
I think that at the time Kristen was still like sort of an up and coming actor, and like for especially like a bigger role like this, but also like I think that if she had been given more to work with, she would have made like better choices and like had so much more.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like I feel like you're the first guest that has actually given me that perspective for this
Yeah.
Twilight month, because every time I'm like, I don't like Bella. Bella gives me nothing. She's not giving what needs to be given. But like, you know that you're so right, as you would say, so true. Like it's written just, I think it's written poorly mixed with the fact that she's not making strong enough choices for the character. The only scene I really thought, or like the only movie, which is weirdly, I thought she was breaking out of her shell was New Moon, and I don't like New Moon.
Yeah, like I think it's like my least favorite book, just because so much of it is like, we're gonna go be with the werewolves now, and like Bella is sad and there's nothing happening because they're still in like junior year, and like it's just boring.
And Edward's just gone. Actually, hot take. I don't know if you've heard this, but for New Moon, that was the only movie that I was slightly Team Jacob. And then I took a very quick U-turn in Eclipse.
I think that the Team Jacobness is understandable simply because he was like the
The
only thing
only
that was
one.
making her happy.
And he's hot. So like
But yeah, like Eclipse Jacob made not one single good choice. So
I could not agree more. But this movie is interesting. It gives a vibe that I was not expecting to be given in this movie. Like I had no idea. Like obviously this is my first time watching all of the movies, but this movie like feels so adult. Like the other ones kind of felt like high school like viewing. This is like an adult, like full on adult film to me. Like
yeah,
it feels that way.
like definitely the audience is aging up as Bella does,
Yeah.
but
Mm-hmm.
but also like it didn't even seem like she was 18, you know?
You're so true. Like it's just really like written differently than I thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of liked it. It's just didn't work in enough ways. Like it's fine. Like it's a live action movie. Like this one feels like an action movie. Like the other ones kind of felt more of like a
Rom-com.
indie
Yeah.
kind of vibe. But
Not like
this
a
is like,
rom-com, but like more of
yeah,
a yeah.
I know what you mean. I don't know what it's called, but I know what you mean. Like I'm picking up what you're putting down, as I say all the time now, because John says that all the time. But like,
That's
I think that Edward in this movie. Actually, what do you think of Edward in this movie?
I think that in this movie, Edward is simply a vessel for Stephanie's Mormonism.
Yeah.
Hot take, yeah, but
Okay. So Edward in this movie, he's literally like just there, minus like his minor support for Bella towards the end because he's afraid that the child's gonna be immortal. But like, I was not like this movie. I feel like there was not one character where I was fully like in love with them.
yeah, like Alice was cute and fun and she was like helping Bella and
She
whatever.
always is. Alice always
Yeah,
delivers.
she slays. But
Rosalie
like
too. Rosalie too is always an icon.
Rosalie is giving it her all. In this movie, I think she was written weirdly.
Yeah, she wasn't my favorite in this movie, which is kind of weird because I feel like going out of Eclipse, I was like standing her like 500,000%.
Yeah. Like the scene in Eclipse where she's like describing how she was turned into a vampire, like it was so cute. Like
No,
I loved.
I loved it so much, but like it definitely like this movie just takes such a turn from Eclipse. Like, am I the only one who feels that way? Like Eclipse was giving us it. That's my favorite one, is
Yeah.
Eclipse.
Yeah, I think that like the first one is my favorite just because it's the one I've watched the most and it holds the most nostalgia, but like Eclipse is up there too.
And like I feel like now that I've watched them the first time, when I go back and watch them a second time after I give my friend Maggie her DVDs back because I've been using them for like a month, but like
Yeah.
I'm gonna like buy all the DVDs because I want to, but like also like when I rewatch them again, I feel like I'm gonna pick up on a lot of different stuff like after breaking it down with everyone, and I feel like my opinion might change on some of the movies. I mean, New Moon, I feel like
Yeah.
I'm forever gonna just not like, but like maybe this movie once I give it a second
New Moon
go.
is fun to watch, but like not anywhere remotely my favorite.
Yeah, no, it was a fun watch. It definitely was. It's just not good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Jacob in this movie. Let's talk about him. Jacob, he's there.
Mm-hmm. Sure is.
Um, he was the best man in the wedding.
Yeah, that he showed up to like and then just got angry the entire time.
Yeah. Choices were made,
Mm-hmm.
not particularly the right choices.
Yeah, like in the book, like a whole probably quarter of the book is just from Jacob's perspective, which was unnecessary. And I think that because that happened when they were adapting it into the film, they also wanted to include Jacob a lot more in this movie and talk about like the stuff with the wolf pack and like his perspective on everything. And I just didn't like it.
No,
Like, why are we doing it?
you're so right, because why was he there? He didn't really
Yeah.
add anything. Like they had his whole like wolf pack stuff, but they didn't give us like I didn't feel like it was necessary. Like I wasn't like, oh my gosh, thank you so much to the director for including this whole Jacob arc in this movie. God bless you. That's not what I was saying. I was more like, why did they include this?
Like they were there because they wanted to talk about like the tension with the whole treaty and like they must not like turn a human because the Bella's gonna turn into a vampire and like that's creating roughness between them. But also like this wasn't needed for the story. And I think it's part of the reason that they split it up into two movies, which just led to a bunch of boringness and filler and montages.
Okay, that is the hottest take I think I've had, and I kind of like agree with it so much. Like after watching both of them, like I really didn't hate part two. Like I thought that it was like one of the better ones,
Yeah.
but like it still feels like you're so like this movie feels like mostly filler. The second one, it has a little bit of filler, but it's not nearly as filler as this.
Yeah.
And like it just kind of makes me sad because I really wanted to vibe with this movie.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Like
Um, yeah.
this is fun to watch. It's just tiring.
Yeah, it is really tiring. It's really hard for me to like
Yeah.
watch
And like the
this
entire
and
time
be
we're just
intrigued.
waiting. Oh, sorry, go
Oh,
ahead.
I just said it was hard to be intrigued the entire time.
Yeah. Like the entire time we're just waiting until Bella gives birth and then like it's weird.
It's really weirdly like portrayed in the movie. It's a
Yeah.
really weird birth scene. It's a really
Mhm.
weird birth scene. It,
And
it
like sure vampire births are going to be weird, but like why are we staging it like dark and like super high contrast with everything and
random like half dead like looks on all of them.
yeah. And then like Rosalie coming in and like nearly killing the baby and like
Yeah,
weird.
Rosalie, she let's talk about her. She was giving it her all in this movie, but like it just wasn't
Yeah.
delivering.
Yeah. Like I think that because of so much of her past trauma where like she's wanting to get married and like she's wanting to have a baby, like it makes sense. But like maybe protect Bella. Like
Yeah, no, like I feel like the last movie was like such a like you have to be careful of being a vampire, like it's not worth it. But then in this movie, she's like, not trying to help Bella whatsoever, and now she's like officially a vampire.
Yeah, like I want a baby.
The baby also is so weird because in this movie I was like kind of half assing watching it, but oopsies. But like in the end of the movie, no, not this movie, the other one, we see that Jacob's like in love with Bella's daughter. And because of the
Mhm.
imprint thing. That is the weirdest thing to come out of this saga. And there was a lot of weird things. But this movie, I was like kind of hoping to get like more of like a reasoning, something like what is going on. But like all I know is the wolf pack talks about it for like a hot second, but they don't like go into it.
Yeah. Like, wait, what were you asking?
Like why does Jacob like why does this happen? Why is this written? Why did this occur?
Okay, the last time I like really knew about this was like sort of a long time ago, but I think this is what it is. Um,
Just give it your all.
yeah. Heading straight into the deep end. But I think it's that in the original treaty that they signed like a long time ago with like the older people, they said that like you couldn't kill someone or like turn a human when you were in the area, which is like fine because normally they don't like do human blood or whatever, and like they haven't turned someone. It's just been like people coming to them and whatever. So I think that once Edward impregnates Bella, they're gonna turn her into a vampire after that. So like either they're killing her because no, they're like turning her so it would like break the treaty. Or I think that because the baby like destroyed her living for a hot second, then it's like they're killing her. I don't entirely know where the connection is there.
It's
But
weird.
yeah, like they're gonna hurt the baby for some reason, I think. And then because Jacob is imprinting on her, we can come back to that. Like they can't do anything to it because you can't hurt the like person that another member of the pack has imprinted on.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. It's still weird. It's
yeah,
still I like okay,
it
like the
was
imprint thing would be less weird if he didn't like end up falling in love with her at the end of the movie. The next one.
yeah, like in the beginning of this movie, they're talking about like how a couple member others of the pack like have also imprinted on like children, and like it's gonna be fine because they're gonna be like a big brother and a best friend and then they'll be in a relationship. But like no, I don't like I don't appreciate.
I don't appreciate it either. It's so weirdly written and like I talked about that in my part 2 episode, but it's kind of like just like why?
Yeah,
It's a writer's choice. It is a writer's choice.
yeah. And I I don't know, even with like the whole Edward being like over 100 years old and Bella still being like 17 when they're in love, like yeah, I get on like a lot of technicalities this isn't all that bad, but once you add in all of them it feels like this is weird.
Yeah. Can we also talk about Carlisle in this movie because he helps with this whole birthing thing kind of vibe because you know he's a doctor. He's a doctor.
Yeah,
It's kind of interesting. Like having the dad be like the doctor and then he helps like her drink blood and then it's like what's going on?
the drinking blood is so weird.
This
And
movie, I feel like the only word I can use to describe its entirety is like weird.
yeah, like I think that a lot of the reason it's that way is because Stephanie didn't know what she wanted to do at the beginning, so she was just like pumping out scripts or like books or whatever, and like it went in a direction and she just kind of went with it instead of like viewing the entire story.
Yeah, that's a hot take because I feel like there's a lot of like books and series where the writer is just pumping and pumping and pumping out stuff, even regardless of it makes sense or not. And then when it comes to like where they want to conclude the book series, it just becomes like a hot like dumpster fire.
Yeah.
That is my hot take.
Hot take. Yeah.
Another example of this, I don't know if you've ever read like the Mortal Instruments series in that mess of an entirety.
Haven't. No.
It that's exactly the same vibe I get. It doesn't feel like written like where she was like had the whole story in mind, and then it's just kind of like when she like got there, or not even like when she got to the finale, like every book felt like something new was happening. It was like, what is going on? Yeah, so it's like really hard, and because like she has so many different books in that series, like I think there's like 10 in one series, which is ridiculous, and they're all like 1,000 pages long.
Whoa.
It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the vibe that I get. Like I agree, like she just was writing stuff, and then when it like came to where she wanted to like wrap it up or like tell a story, it got to this point.
Yeah. And I feel like that might be a problem with like the industry, and just like you don't know if you're going to get signed on for another deal, so like everything has to be its own concise story, or like you just have to like branch off from what you already have, but like still.
Yeah, like I kind of like get the vibe. Like they do this with TV shows a lot. Like all the season finales are always written so that like if it's the series finale, it still works.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I totally get what you mean. I totally feel you on that. You're bringing a lot of insight today that is definitely needed for this episode.
So true.
Yeah, the other like Cullen family members in this movie are just kind of like there, and they're at the wedding, and they're like kind of just giving it their all, like you said, like all of them, like not one of them like really wasn't delivering.
Yeah, like I think that the way that the actors portrayed all of their roles was like still so good.
I agree. Like there wasn't like anyone that was like left behind.
Yeah. Like they were still fitting their characters. They were doing the best to work with what they got. Like I liked it.
Yeah, no, the Cullen family member is kind of here for them. The tribe with Jacob and that stuff in this movie is kind of like interesting. It's a choice.
Yeah. Like Seth will always be just the best. But like
I agree.
Why are we abandoning everyone else simply because Jacob doesn't want to listen to Sam?
Jacob doesn't want to listen to anyone.
True. Except for Bella, for some reason.
Because he's in love with her, but then he's gonna be in love with her daughter, and then like that whole thing.
The entire fact that Bella, or like Jacob was just in love with Bella because he was like gonna imprint on like the one cell in her body, absolutely not.
Yeah, I also feel like I need to, at the beginning of this episode, tell people that this will include spoilers for not only part 1, but part 2 as well, because I feel like I just realized that I just kind of gave away like a major part of the second movie.
Whoop, sorry.
Oopsies. This is what happens when I record out of order, but that's kind of fine. I don't really care. I literally did this to myself. So like,
don't worry. I feel like I would have done it anyway. And like,
yeah. So like now we can feel less bad. I'll just put like a little spoiler warning, be like, hey guys, me and Bethy are idiots and spoiled the entire first and second movie in this episode. So please listen with caution.
Before you even start the episode, just be like, this will include spoilers.
That's exactly what I'm gonna do. Like that's when they had to like I put a trigger warning on an episode, and that's like exactly what I did. I was like, this episode contains talk of X, Y, and Z. Please listen at your own discretion. That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of love it. Yeah, honestly, let's dive into the plot because I feel like there's so much to talk about. So we have,
I feel like I've already talked about so much, but it's fine. It's fine.
It's fine. So they have the wedding. They are gonna have this wedding. They become married. It's cute. There's like, I like the color scheme, like the whole vibe of the wedding. I think is like kind of cute, like very romantic, very like intimate in a weird way. Like the vibe is just really, I like it. It's a good wedding vibe.
Yeah, like it's very woodsy, and I like that they did it at their house.
Yeah, I feel like you would be a woodsy wedding person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I've been through enough completely overblown, like 2014 blingy weddings for it to not be a woodsy wedding person.
No, I love like my wedding is definitely gonna be like a more like calm, like woodsy, like less modern giant wedding party vibe. You want like more like a calm. This is kind of what the wedding is, but then it doesn't get calm because Jacob basically he got to the wedding. He comes like during the reception and it's really weird. And then they like dance.
Yeah. Like I get that you're still like friends with him, but also like he's been MIA for so long and like theoretically you could still see him after the wedding. Like, why are you here?
Exactly. No, there was no reason for him to be here, but like I digress. Um, so they are going to do this thing, Bella and Edward. I like in the synopsis that I was reading, they call it like something weird. I'm just gonna say they're basically gonna have sex for the first time on their honeymoon.
Yeah.
And like we saw like I think it was New Moon where they like tried to have it and then he was like, no, like we should wait. And I was like, oh, okay. So they waited till marriage.
Stephanie's a Mormon.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Um, so they go on this to Isle Esme.
Yes.
That's what it is called. I just want to make sure. They make love.
Make love. Absolutely.
It's interesting. It's a vibe. It's definitely written in an interesting way.
True. Yeah.
Then
Like
just it's just weird.
the whole scene where she's getting ready before it is like, why did this need to happen? Oh, another montage. Like
The montages are out
weird.
of this world in this movie.
True.
Like in a bad way. Like they're ridiculous. Like why are they happening so often?
Yeah. It just feels like you're filling time for no reason.
Oh, they definitely are because it's kind of ridiculous. I have things to do, places to be, uniforms to pick up. Let's move this along, people, is what I'm like thinking in my head.
Yeah.
But then she notices that her period is late and she like vomits. And so then Carlisle, who has
It
adopted
is so
Bella,
weird.
is like, yeah, you're pregnant.
Surprise.
And Edward becomes like really weirded out because he's like, if it's a vampire, like Bella's not going to survive. Like, what is going to happen? And then he like gets all worried about Bella, and it's like, oh, cute, they're in love. Oh, yay. Then this is really, really interesting because basically Carlisle was like told to perform like an abortion. And she's like,
Yeah.
no. And it's like really weird because then Rosalie like comes in and she's like gonna be the bodyguard.
Stephanie's a Mormon.
Yeah. That's like the theme of this episode. This is Stephanie's a Mormon. that is Bethy's main point of the episode here today.
I'm just saying, like, it's so relevant to how she wrote this story and the choices that she made with that.
So true. So true. So basically it gets really weird. They go back to Forks. Jacob comes and rushes to the house. She's very pregnant and he gets all upset because Bella seems to be like doing horribly.
Yeah.
But she's like, you know
like,
what? I'm still gonna have this baby.
Like the baby is taking such a toll on her, and like she's so sick by the end of everything, and I'm just questioning the entire writing process here.
Yeah. I also love that you're knitting right now or crocheting or whatever you're doing. Yeah. And
well,
it's orange because I love orange.
I love orange. Orange is so nice. I learned how to crochet on Thursday and like literally 2 days ago, and I just feel like I just need to continue, you know?
I feel like this is your new era.
So true. Like because I was braiding my hair before, like I feel like I need something to do with my hands while I'm talking.
I kind of love it.
Yeah.
Because what I do is I just add random like Italian hand motions where my hands just like flinging everywhere and every which way.
Yeah. I just do that in my normal everyday conversations though.
Yeah,
So
me too. I wonder why. But
it's a mystery.
it is. It's such a mystery. So basically Jacob gets all mad and he like runs out, and then he like arranges like this little meeting with the people of his pack, and it's really weird. And then Sam's like, this baby is not going to be able to control itself. We need to like get rid of the baby, and they're going to kill Bella. It's so weird.
So weird.
Yeah. Then he's like, if we don't kill Bella, the unborn child will. And then it gets all this like whole thing. And then Jacob gets all mad. And then they're going to like make their own pack because apparently that's something that needs to happen.
I don't know. It just feels like a splinter party. Oh my god, my gov exam in like 2 weeks. Wow, killing it. Okay. Um
Oh, so true. AP exams are coming fast, people. I am not okay.
no, like very much just taking so many practice tests, and it's gonna happen, and it's
You
gonna be
know,
over.
I
You
kind of
know?
love that. Why is my microphone not working? I literally can't do this today.
Yeah.
I think it's back now. Okay, period. Love it. Love to see it. Okay, yes, guys. Today I'm going through it. If you couldn't tell,
I can't right now.
why?
In this weird
What is
movie we're
going
talking
on?
about.
Zoom is like giving me like a bunch of notifications, guys. I think this is the end of the world right now. Okay, okay. I think we're done. I think we're good. It's like your default microphone has changed. Your default speaker has changed. Okay, girl, just let's stop changing my mic and let's keep going. She basically like keeps getting worse and worse with this pregnancy. And then Jacob like makes a comment to her about the baby like needing blood. And then she starts drinking blood from Carlisle, which is weird in itself. And she like gets all much better. And then the pregnancy gets like really bad. And then it's like very fast. And then he like reads the baby's thoughts. Choices were made.
If we can't get a DNA sample from the baby,
It's weird.
why can't he read her thoughts?
I feel like we just like accepted this in the Twilight community that this was what was happening. And we just didn't question it in any way.
I feel like Stephanie was creating her own like sort of subsection of vampires, and like we just kind of went along with it because we're like, oh, okay, these are the things that they can do. But like this wouldn't make sense in any other story.
You're so true. So true. So basically it gets really weird. And then she wakes up and she's like unconscious and it's really weird. And then she names the thing like Renesmee. The thing. Why did I call it the thing?
The thing.
The baby Renesmee. Her heart stops. Then they like Jacob like tries to save her life. He injects Edward injects like venom into her, and then she's like still dead. And then they like start to bring her to life. And then Jacob like tries to kill the baby because it like was the cause of Bella's death. Why am I referring to it as it? I don't know. I'm sorry, I can't do this. It just is really weird. And then Jacob's like trying to kill the baby, and then he imprints her, and it's really weird. And I'm so confused and concerned. And then this like saves the wolves from killing the baby. Then she like gets cleaned, and then whatever is fine. And then they do this weird like scene where she becomes a vampire, and then ta-da, vampire.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, the way that they ended the movie with like her changing and then like she's still asleep, but they're like you can see like her face restructuring and she's turning into a vampire. Like we get it. And like the opening was cool, but also like the way that they filmed it was just weird.
Yeah, it was just not my fave.
Yeah.
This movie is just okay.
Yeah. Like it was there to continue the story through like all the plot parts that we really wanted, but like just make one movie and have it be like half an hour longer than the rest of them.
Yeah, it was just really like unnecessary, I think, to do 2 full movies because this movie didn't like really give me like what I wanted, I guess.
Yeah.
I also think that
Like
this
it,
movie just felt like rushed.
yeah, like I don't know, it makes it feel like they didn't want to maintain the cohesiveness of the story, even though the small amount of cohesiveness that it has.
Yeah,
But like they just wanted to make it two because that's what everyone else was doing.
I agree. They jumped on the bandwagon. Rating
Mhm.
wise, this movie, I think I have to give it like a 7.
Yeah, like it was very
It
pretty,
is
and
pretty. It's
I
very
thought there
visually
were
good.
yeah, I thought there were like some good jokes, but I don't know, maybe like a 6 in general, like a 7 for Twilight.
Yeah, maybe like a 6.5. I don't know. I'm just not vibing with it. I don't care. It's
Yeah.
fine. It furthers the plot,
Yeah.
but not in the way that needs to be furthered.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, it's just weird. The final scene is weird. It's just okay.
Yeah.
But like
I don't
it
know.
was it was it was
It's
fine.
fine.
The soundtrack was good. They're all the Twilight soundtracks are great.
They're so good. I listen to them all the time.
My friend Maggie listens to them like on a daily basis. Like I'll look at her Spotify and she'll be listening to Twilight.
Yeah. Like I don't know. There was an era where I would listen to Supermassive Black Hole literally every day. Possibility. Hello. I still listen to the Meadow
I
constantly.
mean, the meadow,
Um
there was like no meadow scenes in this movie.
I know. It's
I
crazy.
literally every single
Like
episode I'm
this
like,
this is
why are
a
they
hangout spot.
I'm literally like, why are they in the meadow all the time? But this movie there's like no meadow.
Yeah. Like I get that you like are dying because you have a baby inside you, but like
But
go
abortion
to
was
the
not the
Meadow.
right
It'll be
option,
fun.
Bethy. It was just not the right it was not what needed to be done.
Clearly, it's not a fetus, it's a baby. Hashtag Rosalie.
Rosalie, icon. But yeah, this movie just didn't give what wanted to be given. Overall, Twilight wise, this movie is just I'm still gonna stick with my rating. You'll hear more about it in next week's episode, everyone, where I talk about the second part of Breaking this movie, Breaking Dawn. But I would definitely have to say that it goes like Eclipse, Twilight, Breaking Dawn Part 2, Breaking Dawn Part 1, New Moon.
Yeah, I would say Twilight, Eclipse, Part 2, Part 1, New Moon. Yeah.
New Moon's just not good. But this episode was good
Yeah.
because it was with you, Bethy. Like obviously you gave us all the stuff. Like
Oh my god.
Stephanie being a Mormon. I didn't even know that she was a Mormon.
No, she totally is. If you like read the books, it's way more prominent, but she's like, "Oh my god." I think my favorite example of this is she's like, Bella looked so pretty. She's like describing it from like Edward's perspective, and Bella is literally in a floor-length khaki skirt and like a pullover. And it's just like
So true, bestie. I'm broken right now. Actually, I don't think I can actually go about the rest of my day with that information. But like looking back, I feel like I can tell.
yeah. And I think that
I should have
like
known the waiting till marriage part. That should have just been like the first.
but it's just because Edward's a traditionalist. He's like old. No, Stephanie, you're a Mormon.
Well, no, in the movie, didn't they justify it as like if they do it, he can't control himself and he might like do something to her? Because I swore
I
that
feel like
happened.
I think that was also true, but they still did it when she was human.
True. I don't
So
know what that little point finger was, but it happened. Yeah.
yeah.
So honestly, TBH, I think this was a shorter episode than normal, but like guys, I don't really care because this movie doesn't deserve that much of my time. So I just want to thank everyone so much for tuning in. Thank you, Bethy, for coming back on again. A joy as
You're
always.
so welcome. I love being here.
Yeah, I love having you. Like,
What?
oh, we're glitching. Perfect. I love a good glitch. I don't know what's happening.
Oh no.
You're like frozen,
Yeah,
but it's okay.
it's okay.
Okay, I think we're back now. But I was just saying thank you so much. I love having you on. Um, the glitch on top of this episode is just like the perfect vibe for this
It is,
episode.
yeah.
But of course, thank you. You can check out me and Bethy's other episodes, Luck of the Irish, Twitches 2, and Ella Enchanted. They're
Mhm.
always a vibe. And so thank you so much. I had a great time talking about this mediocre movie.
So true.
And thank you for your like insight, because I feel like now I know so much more.
You know, we didn't have a Twilight middle. I know how to talk. We didn't have a Twilight phase in middle school for nothing. So, you know.
So true.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much. You guys can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all the places at That's On Matthew, and you can check out my website, that'smatthew.com, for all the fun stuff on there. Tune in next week to hear my thoughts on Breaking Dawn Part 2. Even though I feel like I said all my thoughts on Breaking Dawn Part 2 and Breaking Dawn Part 1, it's still a great episode. And I'll see you all in another episode again soon. Bye.